Hi there, Spanish Grammar Guy here on Focus 15 Spanish, here to help you with your Spanish grammar. Now today, we'll show you when to use bien and when to use bueno and what's the difference between them. We'll explore the guidelines and examples to help you fully understand the infamous opposition between the two of them, bien and bueno. Now learners tend to confuse these words because they look and sound similar and have pretty similar meanings. However, bien versus bueno is easy to understand if we consider the grammar of them. In English, there's a debate about when you should use good and when you should use well. Do you feel good or do you feel well? James Brown would say that he feels good. But really, James? Shouldn't you say you feel well? Anyway, Spanish learners struggle with bien versus bueno. That's why we should forget about translating them directly and try to understand the grammatical differences. That'll make it easier. Bien is an adverb. Buen or bueno is an adjective. And if you remember this simple rule, then using bien and bueno becomes much easier to understand. So let's look at bien and its use as an adverb. Obviously, it's enough to remember that adverbs answer the question how or to what extent, and they describe verbs, other adverbs, or adjectives. So let's have a look at using bien when it's describing a verb. Let's have a look at this example. Canto bien en español. I sing well in Spanish. So here, bien describes the verb canto. How do you sing? You sing well. Let's have a look at bien describing an adjective. For example, tu canción es bien pegajosa. Your song is very catchy. So here, bien is an adverb telling us more about the adjective pegajosa. Catchy to what extent? Very catchy. Bien can also be used to describe another adverb. Let's have a look. Hablas bien rápido. You speak very fast. In this example, bien is an adverb describing another adverb, rápido. To what extent is this fast? Very fast. Okay, let's have a look now then at the use of bueno as an adjective. Adjectives, as we know, they describe nouns, including people, animals, ideas, objects, for example. Let's have a look at this example here. El álbum es muy bueno. The album is very good. In this sentence, we're describing an object, the album, and that it's good. Remember that Spanish adjectives need to agree in gender and number with the noun they are describing, so that's why we could have bueno or buena, buenos or buenas. You need to take into consideration whether the noun is feminine or masculine, singular or plural. So for example, tu español es bueno. Your Spanish is good. Here it's masculine and singular. Another example, tu pronunciación es buena. Your pronunciation is good. Feminine and singular. Okay, let's have a look here. Es un chico bueno or es un buen chico, both of which translate to he is a good, nice boy. So here we have the difference between using bueno or buen. They're actually the same word, the same meaning, and they're both used to describe singular masculine nouns. The difference is where you'll put them in the sentence. Bueno goes after the noun and buen comes before the noun. So that's pretty straightforward. So let's have a look now at the uses of both bien and bueno. In what situations can you use bien? Let's check out these common ways to use the word bien. So first of all, it's often used to say how you feel. When you hear, for example, the common question, ¿Cómo estás?, you will answer bien. It's the perfect response to express how you're doing and how you feel. It can describe your health or simply how you are in a particular situation. So if you're not feeling very well, you could say, No me siento muy bien. I don't feel very well. Bien can be used to emphasize the adjective in a sentence, translating very, for example. You can add bien before an adjective and make it sound stronger. Now, this use of bien is probably more common in South America, but you can use it in Spain too. So, for example, you might say something like, El libro es bien interesante. The book is very interesting. You can also use bien to say that something is done well. If you want to praise somebody because they're doing something well, you use bien and not bueno. For example, Lo has hecho muy bien. You've done it very well. You can use bien to say that something works properly. For example, technological devices and other things that work or don't. Here's an example. Skype no está bien. No se oye nada. Skype is not working well. You can't hear anything. You can also use bien just for general agreement in informal situations. So someone might say to you, for example, vamos al cine? Bien? Okay? You can also use bien to praise and cheer people. Let's say your friend has done something really well. You just want to shout, well done. You can shout, bien in Spanish. Bien, felicidades. Well done. Congratulations. Bien, ganamos. Well done, we won. Okay. So let's have a look now at the uses of buen or bueno. So we remember that bueno is an adjective, but let's give you some more specific hints on how to use it. Let's say someone behaves well. They're a well-behaved person. You could say, for example, Mi hija es muy buena. Siempre hace todas las tareas. My daughter is very good. She always does all her homework. You could say that someone is good at what they do using the word bueno or buena. Let's say a person is very good at their job. For example, Juan es un buen profesor. Juan is a good teacher. You could also say Juan es un profesor bueno. They're the different use of buen and bueno. If you want to say something is of a good quality, you could use bueno. For example, Qué buen coche tiene Pedro. What a good car Pedro has. Let's say something is good for you, good for your health, beneficial. You can use bueno. So anything that does you good is bueno. Anything that doesn't is not bueno. For example, correr es bueno. Running is good. It's good for you. Comer dulces todos los días no es bueno. Eating sweets every day is not good for you. You can also use bueno, buena, for example, in a restaurant to say something tastes good, the food's good. So when you're in a restaurant, the waiter asks how the food is, you could use bueno or buena. For example, Esta quesadilla está muy buena. This quesadilla is very good. Remember here that you're using the verb estar and not ser because you're talking about the condition of the food. Look out for a useful video on the difference between ser and estar on the Focus 15 channel to help you with this. Now, you can also use bueno to say okay. But wait, haven't I just told you that you use bien when you want to say okay? Well, this is perhaps the only situation when you can use one or the other, and you'll always be correct. If you're unsure whether to use bien versus bueno, then either in this situation is fine. For example, if someone said to you, vamos al cine, va, bueno, or bien, they're both okay. Now, in some Latin American countries, you might hear people say bueno instead of dígame when answering a phone. So the phone rings and someone picks it up and says bueno to say something like speaking, or to replace dígame, which is often used in Spain. Bueno, that's it for now. Please subscribe to Focus 15 with the Spanish Grammar Guy if you want more Spanish grammar tips. And see you soon. Thanks for watching.